The coiled spring turns the gears, making them mesh and move the gondola along. It almost feels like they're winding something back, if you ask me.
There is no shortage of evil in Throné's story. As each chapter advances, new atrocities are committed and horrible secrets revealed by the villains Throné faces. These actions were done in order to manipulate Throné into fulfilling a role they chose for her. Throné's story has her taking back 2 keys from those who abused her, only to find out that she is not yet free, and that she must face a source deeper and darker than ever imagined. The source is Claude, Throné's biological father, and arguably the most contemptible character in the game. This game has no shortage of contemptible characters, but even in this roster, Claude stands out. Claude is the one who set up the entire system of subjugation Throné was born into, and is the ultimate source of her suffering. I find it interesting then, that when he gives his response to what is the central question of Throné's storyline, what can never be stolen, he gives his answer. And Throné, as a baby, is described to be smiling. This is a sign that though her life will be surrounded by darkness, she will hold on to hope. But what is this hope? And how does this hope stem from Claude's answer? I believe that taking a look at Throné's story, her villains, and how different characters answer the question, what cannot be stolen, will show how Throné steals back her freedom and finds the dawn. The intro has Throné speak about her hatred of the stench of blood. Specifically, this is meaningless bloodshed. It refers to the lives she is forced to take and the lives that are taken from her due to the manipulations of the Black Snake leaders. This introduction takes place while Throné is on a mission to retrieve an item. However, word of their plan gets out and they are currently trying to use their planned escape route. Since they are unable to open the door, they deduce that one of them is a traitor but have to seek another exit since there is no way to tell who it is. Back into the city and we meet Father, the first leader of the Black Snakes and the one who taught Throné her skills with a dagger. Father and Mother are the leaders of the Black Snakes, these titles calling on to an ultimate authority while also being a reflection of Claude's place above the Black Snakes as a whole. We also find why Throné is stuck under their command. On her neck is a collar, which presumably can only be adjusted through the use of the 2 keys in possession of the leaders. Mother, a sadistic woman, whips Throné and Pyro for their failings. Throné is so accustomed to this, she gives almost no reaction. Throné says she has forgotten the feeling of pain, and also says,
"It makes me wonder, is pain the only thing I've forgotten? Dark evenings are followed by hollow mornings. The cycle repeats. Again, and again, and again."
Throné is under a system that seeks to take her identity and humanity away from her to force her into a role. The cycle repeats is reflective not only of Throné's experience, but is also a hint at how this system is of Claude's creation. Throné and Pyro have a moment away and talk. Pyro states his desire to reach a level of enjoyment for his life before he dies. He asks Throné what she wants for her life, but she doesn't give an answer. Throné meets with Father, who tells her who the traitor is, and that Throné's next mission is to assassinate him. Father's plan to get Throné into the estate where they reside is to have Throné pose as a brothel girl. He claims he doesn't like this plan, but later actions by him indicate otherwise, and I'll point those out as they come up. Again, even Throné's sexuality and sexual appeal is a commodification to be controlled by Father and Mother. Throné infiltrates the estate, only to find the supposed traitor dead. Pyro attacks Throné and reveals that this was a setup to place them in competition with one another. Pyro is now convinced that he must take control of the Black Snakes, and that the way to do this is by killing Throné.
"I cannot be a successor as long as you live. I have to. I must kill you."
He fails, and tells Throné that she must be the leader, but Throné rejects this, saying she wishes to be free. And then Pyro dies. The structure of Chapter 1 is very similar to the final chapter. It begins with Throné attempting to make an escape, only to find she cannot unlock the path to her freedom. She finds another route which brings her to a parental figure. This figure has set Throné up to combat the other members in order to find out who would come out on top. The one defeated then tries to pass on their desire to Throné, only to have her reject it due to her desire for a higher form of freedom. There are slight differences. Pyro did not set up Throné, but he did provoke a fight with her in order to achieve the same status as those who manipulated him. Pyro gave up on his wish for life, instead causing meaningless bloodshed through having his identity taken away from father and mother. Throné, however, is now fighting for her freedom. She has set her sights on two keys, one with mother and the other with father. While the question, what cannot be stolen, is not directly brought up in Mother's route, it will still apply. A fascinating detail about this question is that no matter the answer, the person will respond by saying what cannot be stolen from them. These are thieves and murderers who have dedicated their craft into taking everything they want, yet their answer is not about what they cannot steal for themselves. In the organization of the Black Snakes, whose purpose is to take every bit of one's identity away, each character focuses on an aspect of themselves they were able to create and hold on to. Searching for Mother, Throné enters Orzrush. She obtains a code to let her into the foundry where she can speak to a slaver that Mother makes deals with. On her way, there's a masked child who follows Throné, which serves to add some foreshadowing and mystery. Throné enters the foundry and finds the slaver directing the two men in a death game with poison cups. Throné challenges the slaver in order to obtain information about Mother. The slaver smells Throné, and what he says is similar to how Throné describes the stench of blood.
Humans are overcome with fear before their demise, and their sweat reeks something awful.
The last cup provides the player with an option. The incorrect choice indicated with a bloodstain. The slaver loses, drinks from the poison cup, and tells Throné where Mother is before he dies. After Throné drinks 2 cups, the slaver has the option to drink 2 of the remaining 3 himself, but instead gives Throné the final option. He says he wanted to test Throné, but what is this test? The ability to smell death is a commonality between these two members of the Black Snakes. Both most likely have learnt it from their experiences. However, the slaver uses it to perpetuate a game of death. He takes pride in his ability to smell the poison and hosts game after game putting other people's lives on the line, never truly risking his own. Throné can also smell the poison, but she hates the smell of blood. Death is a pointless option, represented by a repulsive and visceral bloodstain. The slaver says he has been bested. I think this refers to more than the game. His ability to smell death comes from his background as a snake, but while he uses it to perpetuate more death, even drinking the final cup when he loses, Throné uses her ability to recognize meaningless bloodshed to avoid it. Throné seeks freedom from the cycle. The precept that Throné used to enter the building is drink from the cup in your left hand. However, disobeying the precept is what leads her to her victory. While this may only have been coincidence, the process of Throné finding freedom by going against the precepts of her abusers is consistent with the story. I'll take liberties pointing that out when I see it. Off to Wellgrove, and Throné disguises as a nun to infiltrate an orphanage where Mother teaches new recruits.
There's the bell again.
It has a beautiful sound.
I suppose so.
She first witnesses Mother putting a collar on a girl for her contribution. A boy talks about how he will have to learn how to kill soon, and a girl says that Mother talks of a secret weapon only women have. Throné steals a key to Mother's garden and makes her way over to the bell.
My dear little Mira, now that you're a true snake, there is a little fairy tale you must know.
A fairy tale?
Yes, it's a prelude before the real fun begins. Once upon a time, in a faraway land, there lived a man and a woman who were deeply in love. But they were a prince and a princess of enemy kingdoms. and it wasn't long before war broke out between them. So they decided to run away together.
It's been a while, Mother dearest.
Oh, Throné. There you are.
In the fight, Mother reveals that Throné's biological mother was the previous leader of the Black Snakes. Throné kills Mother.
There's no such thing as freedom, Throné. Once a snake, always a snake.
Stop! I don't care how much she whips me. She's the only one who was ever nice to me. She's the only mother I have. Please, don't take her from me.
Hate me all you like.
Mother! Mother?
The scene of the bell is disturbing, and even more so when the girl begs Throné not to kill Mother. Earlier, Mother said, "There's no better way to control someone than through pain." Her abuse is her method of taking control. By filling someone's life with pain, she makes the only thing they can hold on to the hope of earning higher status in the Black Snakes by submitting. However, holding on to their precepts leads to death, not freedom. Going back to one's origin is also a theme. The story Mother tells is the origin of the Black Snakes. Throné arrives in Winterbloom in order to kill Father. She awaits at a Black Snake stronghold where some men harass her. Throné knocks them out and Father reveals himself.
I told them a beautiful woman would be visiting, and that they could take whatever liberties they wanted with her. I'm sure they're dreaming of you as we speak. Oh, don't look so cross, girl. I was only joking.
The plan is to take out a leader from a rival gang, and Throné is hoping to kill Father as he carries out the mission. However, the plan is different than usual, with Father putting Throné as the assassin and himself as a support. Throné goes along with the plan, hoping there may still be a chance to strike.
Do you remember our first job, Throné?
Why?
I want to know if you've grown used to the smell of blood.
Inside the base, Throné finds a girl chained to a wall.
Please help me. If you don't, they'll sell me away. I heard a rumor. They say the Snow Hares kidnap girls for trade. Please, help me.
Please, help me.
Instead of helping the girl out immediately, she continues to carry out Father's plan. She reaches her target, and before she can kill him,
Even the most skilled assassin is vulnerable the moment he strikes a killing blow.
in this chapter, Throné attempts to kill Father using the skills he taught her. This leads her to failure, as nothing Father taught her was ever meant to bring her freedom. Upholding his teachings only leads to further subjugation. This is also the case with the girl, who Throné returns to, only to find she was too late. Had she focused on fighting for freedom first, a different outcome could have been possible. Father tells Throné to meet him at Clockbank if she still intends to kill him, so she sets out.
I've been waiting for you, Throné. Are you prepared to die?
Father explains how he met Marietta after joining the Blacksnakes. Here we get the first instance of Marietta's question.
Say, Seb, did you know that there's something that can never be stolen?
Hmm?
It's something not even the greatest thief can take. Something within that no one can see.
A riddle, huh? So, what is it?
Before I tell you, I want to hear your answer.
Me?
Yes. What do you think it is?
My skills with the dagger. I've worked long and hard to get as good as I am. And no one can take that from me.
I should have guessed.
Marietta is very mysterious. There's little detail on her background, and many of her actions are unexplained. However, I would guess that her question isn't a riddle with a true answer, and rather one crafted in order to find out more about the person she asks it to. This is why there's never a wrong answer. I also want to say I do not believe Marietta is a child of Claude, even if she did join the Blacksnakes. Claude's actions and words indicate that he values himself as the father and only looks upon his children as his children. Claude even tends a grave for them, one in which Marietta is not buried at. They enter the church and Marietta reveals her own answer.
It's a baby.
I'm your real father, Throné. If only that were the case. I wish it were. But saying so would be a lie.
What do you mean?
Marietta met another man. She fell in love with him and killed our baby. Marietta left me and eventually had that man's child. That child was you, Throné. You should have been my daughter.
Father!
I raised you as if you were truly my own, more precious than anything. But enough talk. Everything I've done has been for this alone.
Again, little explanation is made as to why Marietta did this. Even then, it's hard to tell what is the truth because both Mother and Sebastian are nearly entirely unreliable when it comes to their accounts of events they are loath towards. Mother sought to take credit for killing Marietta, which would justify her position as leader of the Blacksnakes. Sebastian has also been driven to madness. His anger at Marietta developed into a desire to control Throné. His later jokes to control her sexuality as she grew to look more like her mother, who left Sebastian for Claude. There are hints that Marietta deeply regrets what she has done, but there is also ample evidence at Claude's manipulations and power over people, along with infanticide being brought up in a later scene by a mother who desperately pleads to Throné with the knowledge of the horrible fate her child will have if left to live under Claude. Whatever the range of her faults is, I believe her character is best used to explain the actions of those around her, and how her question plants a seed of hope that Throné will find for herself. Sebastian, falling deeper into madness, says he raised Throné to kill him, not for the goal of the Blacksnakes, but because he cannot let go of his bloodlust and hatred. His love and his child were taken from him, and he tried in futility to steal Throné back as his own. Throné lands a lethal blow on Sebastian. It's only now, when Sebastian can no longer control Throné, that he has to let it all go and only think about what he has given and what there is left to give, that Throné says,
For as long as I can remember, you've taught me how to wield a dagger. I killed people, just like you told me to. But this is the first time I've ever felt afraid. Afraid to lose you. Father, would it be okay to call you Dad?
Finally, I've become a real father. I'm so happy to have a daughter. But Throné, you won't be free, even after I die.
Your key.
Go. Meet your real father.
Throné obtains both keys, but they do not unlock her collar. Throné goes back to New Delsta and visits the grave of Pyro. She finds the Black Snakes eating themselves alive, fighting over who will be the next successor. She finds a message on Pyro's grave.
I await where it all began.
She discovers that the 2 keys unlock the underground door and makes her way to a gondola station.
The coiled spring turns the gears, making them mesh and move the gondola along. It almost feels like they're winding something back, if you ask me.
She meets a man who tells her the history of the Black Snakes in full. The fairy tale alludes to the origin of Claude, who is most likely the son of the 2 royals. There are more details about this I will speak of in a later video, but for now I think it's reasonable to assume that the conductor talking about winding things back while giving this story is a sign that this is Claude's origin. Winding things back to one's origin is also a parallel to Throné's own journey. Throné arrives in a town called Lost Seed. The people are as hollow as the town, as if their very soul was stolen from them. The people are labeled as vessels. A ruined vessel attempts to call for rescue, perhaps listing through the different jobs in an attempt to pray to the gods. To no avail, of course, he can only manage rambling in his madness. The other vessels have different labels, and the one I find most interesting is the pure vessel. He is a boy who knows nothing. A blank but capable canvas to be molded into whatever Claude desires. Throné goes deeper into the city.
Please. My baby. What? Kill my baby. Please.
Throné faces Claude, and she learns the truth. Everything was set up by Claude. This near-immortal man fathering each member of the Black Snakes, and having their only way to freedom being to take down their family members and then challenge Claude himself. For a moment, Throné despairs. Even her fight for freedom, and every sacrifice made, was an intended manipulation to meet the goal of Claude. Is she more free for doing what she has done, or is she still chained, having only accomplished the act of killing her family?
No.
Throné. You killed Pyro. You killed mother and father. And then came here.
No. No!
The fact that you're alive is proof that you're the best of them all. Your journey was all part of the process, my little seed. Tell me, Did you enjoy yourself, my daughter? This fight has continued for generations. You are the fourth of my children to come this far. The other three perished here by my hand.
Throné regathers her resolve and challenges Claude. During the fight, Claude will use his chains to lock out the abilities of the player. This game is so incredibly good at making me want to have each combat last as long as possible. The myriad options of each traveler gives nearly endless opportunities to gain something new in each fight. A whole part of this is their main class and ability to select a subjob. To me, it feels as if these actions are a toolkit of one's own identity and representative to how they overcome the challenges they face. Subjobs feel like the travelers taking on and learning techniques from the friends they made on their journey. The items feel like a blessing from the earth, and also feel like a reward for being diligent and collecting resources. Your battle options are how you as a player express yourself and how you experience the game. Claude can take it away. As the fight goes on, his form shifts into the other members of the Black Snakes. It's everything he's stolen. Of course, Throné defeats Claude. There's a memory of Claude and Marietta revealed. Marietta asks Claude her question, and Claude replies,
Instinct. We are all bound by what's in our blood. We live and die trying to grow a garden that lasts. There is no key to unbind us from those chains.
In the journal of a character who is yet to be mentioned in my videos, Claude is reported to be the grandson of the Archmage Darkest. Darkest took the blood of the malevolent god of darkness, Vide, and gave it to Claude while he was in the womb. He is quite literal in saying it is the blood that binds him. Just as he received a destiny by an ancestor, so too did he try to pass it on to a child of his. Throné is described to be full of sorrow, while also having smiled at the answer. I think Claude's answer has a truth that Claude himself misunderstood. The Black Snakes were set up as a system to take everything from a person in order to shape them into the vessel Claude wants them to be. But here is Claude admitting that there are things that cannot be stolen. I believe the word stolen is meant to imply that the person who took it now possesses it as their own. Claude is essentially admitting that his system is doomed to fail if one's instinct happens to be what brings them to their freedom. However, he isn't wrong. And if we look at the different answers of the question, there's another commonality. Each answer is what one wishes to share with another. The instinct given to Throné is that of a thief, but she will not use it to fulfill the desire of Claude. This instinct is hers, and she will use it to steal her freedom back. Then, she will use it to steal back the dawn.
Throné, did you know there is something that cannot be stolen? Not even the greatest thief can take it. It can never be stolen. What do you think it is? I would hear your answer.
The dawn. It can be taken away, but not stolen.
Not just for herself, but to bring it to everyone. Thank you for watching.
This treasure is mine. I won't let anyone take it from me.